Good afternoon, traders. This is CloudChartist with your weekly Ichimoku wrap for the week ending August 7th. Is that right? No, sorry. For the week ending August 14th. It's the 16th tonight, Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon. Beautiful day in Florida. So, we're looking at CL here on the weekly time frame. This 0% fib that you see down here at the bottom at 41.68 is going back to the closing low from 2009. I can get you back there to take a look by looking at the monthly chart. See where I'm at? So we put in several wicks in this area, but I like to work with actual candle close. That's also where you can see, let me zoom in a little bit because we don't need that information back there yet, but we might. Because if we don't bounce right now, we're going to have to look at some other levels from way back. But anyway, this is where the Chicow changed direction after this big, see, you can see over here on the left, I hope you can see my crosshairs. You can see this big dip in the Chicow representing current price action doing this big, awesome downtrend, and that's where it bottomed out. So I like that level. It's called, I like to call it, I don't know what it's called in real life, Ichimoku charting in Japan, but I like to call it a Chicow level. Wherever the Chicow reverses is frequently a handy level to keep an eye on. So I like that 41.68 level. And we did actually bounce slightly below that and put in a close at 42.18, which is actually, let's see, what this one was 40. Some other people were looking for 42.41, which was the spike low of this candle back in March, and that obviously did not hold. So let's go back to the weekly. I just wanted you to know where my fibs were coming from on that monthly time frame. So, so we're still in a downtrend, serious downtrend, and there's nothing to suggest that crude will bounce here, except we are oversold on RSI, but we've been much more oversold. We were much more oversold previously at the end of last year than we are now. We're only slightly oversold. So there's a small bottoming tail, so it's possible that the bottoming tail might be enough to give us a little bit of a bounce higher. If we do get a bounce, then we have resistance at the 10% above, wherever that opens up. It's currently at 51.46, so that's quite a ways up. It will probably end up opening up lower than where it is now due to the downward momentum. But we'll see. So that's crude. I'm sorry, I can't be more bullish at the moment. We do have the cloud above price in the future going into the winter is kind of like a big rectangle. So that suggests maybe Connecticut. That suggests maybe we could get some sideways action under the cloud. There is a flat top to it, but that's not really enough to call the bottom at the moment yet. Let's look at the ES. ES was pretty wacky last week, lots of ups and downs, but we finished. We closed the week above the Tenkan and above the Kijun-sen and above the cloud. So bullish in all ways, Ichimoku. The only thing that's not fully bullish about this chart is the Chicow, this red line here representing price time shifted 26 periods into the past, is inside this candle. So it's going to have resistance at the top of the candle when it wants to pop out, which is at around 20.95. But once it gets over that level, it has the level where the tweezer tops of the prior two candles stopped, which is around 2100. 2100 is, you know, a round number that is real easy to want to trade. You know, everybody wants to short big round numbers like that, not buy in this situation. So we do also have a really long bottoming tail on this candle, but we also have a topping tail. So, and we are still in a downtrend on this time frame, as we failed to put in a higher high and a higher low. We put in a lower high and a lower low. So downtrend of these candles is still intact. So it's important to watch the 2080-25 level where the Tenkan Sen is at, and then also the where the Kijun Sen is at, which is around 2084. I'm not quite sure why it's not showing me that. It's sort of buried under here. So 2080, 25, 2084, and once we get over like 2084, 2085, I have been noticing some resistance at 2088 too, and we closed at 2089.75, so just over 2088. So if we get back under 2088 could be annoying as resistance again. So we'll see how that goes. But on the weekly time frame, downtrend, but bullish overall. All right, let's look at the Russell. All right, the Russell is still in a downtrend just like the ES, but put in a green candle after putting the bottoming tail and wick in. Let me get closer. So we basically bottomed in a similar area to where the prior candle bottomed, just a little bit higher. Let's see, that was the 1203, and this candle closed at 1202, so really close. And we closed in the middle of the prior candle, but we did have a significant topping tail. This could be a potential reversal candle, though, with the big bottoming wick. Although I said 2 weeks ago that this could be a possible reversal candle, and it was not. In fact, the downtrend continued. So in order for there to be a reversal, we need to see a higher high and a higher low. We do have a flat-ish, I can't quite tell if it's totally flat, but a flat Kijun Sen above, and the Tenkan Sen is confluent with the Kijun Sen. So if we do get upward momentum, we will see an avoidance of the bear cross, which there's potential for, which would be the pink line crossing over the blue line, the Kijun Sen crossing over the Tenkan Sen. But if we get more downward momentum, we will get a bear cross. And either way, this level, this 1238.90 level, 1239, 1240 area is going to be resistance until it's broken, until we put in a candle close above that level. We do have a rising cloud, which will offer rising support in the future, but it's not rising here. In fact, we have potential for a test of the cloud down here at all the way down at 1160, so keep that in mind. Let's look at the Nasdaq. And if you're joining me live, I see that I do have some people joining me live. Thank you for joining me. Feel free to request any tickers that you want me to go over that I haven't gone over. I will go over the stuff I normally go over: gold, metals, bonds, you name it, dollar. So Nasdaq is a little bit more bullish looking than the Russell. It put in a close above the Tenkan Sen here. In fact, it closed decently above the Tenkan Sen, and a spinning top type candle with long legs and a long wick at the top. Still in a downtrend because it failed to put in a higher high and a higher low. So if we do so bullish in all ways, the Chikou has got plenty of room to move higher. We're above the cloud. So we need, bulls want to hold the 45.08 Tenkan-sen level. That's really important. If we lose that level, then we could go down to 44.72.50, which is where the Kijun-sen is. If we lose the Kijun-sen, we could get a bear cross in the future, which would not be bullish. If we do lose this area, then we have support in the 43.75 area, 43.66 area, and then, you know, further down 43.15, further down 42.60. I'm just looking at horizontal levels where we had clear price action. So, and then, you know, of course, all the way down to the cloud at 41.50, 41.55, thereabouts. All right, let's look at gold. Gold is in an uptrend, put in a higher high and a higher low. Bullish green candle, but a bit of a long topping tail here. If we do go higher, we can see that there is a prior support resistance level at 11.32 thereabouts, and then resistance at the Tenkan-sen at 11.39. But overall, this chart is bearish. Gold is bearish. It doesn't really look so much like a bear flag so much with this hefty bounce here, so it's really important to see where how it reacts to this, the Tenkan-sen level above at 11.39, 11.40. Let's look at silver. Silver came up and actually broke over the Tenkan-sen and then closed below it. Let me zoom in. So silver is currently in an uptrend. We did put in a higher high and a higher low. We have resistance at 15.38, and if we do put in a close above that, then we have further resistance up here at the Kijun-sen at 16.05. We also can see these prior support and resistance levels here, which is where we at around 15.59, 15.60, which is where we sold off before we closed underneath the Tenkan-sen. So 15.38 is the key level for moving higher on silver. If we do test that level and get rejected by it again, then I would expect a test back down to the 14.75 area. Let's look at corn. I am looking at the continuous contracts here. I hope you can see. Levels might be slightly different on the actual contracts, so keep that in mind. Charts will be similar, but the levels might be different. The charts might be quite different, but I'm trying to give you the tools to read your own Ichimoku charts rather than to just give you the levels, because it's much more important to, if you're interested in learning Ichimoku, to know how to analyze the charts yourself, and it's really easy, and I would love to help you. And if you're interested in learning, you can always join my chat room, and you can find out more information about that at CloudChartist.com. But anyway, back to that's my little intermission. Okay, back to the charting. So corn closed underneath the cloud, so bearish. It came up and tested the Tenkan-sen, the flat Tenkan-sen, and then was rejected from the cloud. So we do have the Chikou in between the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen. So the Chikou itself will find support at the Kijun-sen, so that's down around 368, 367.95. So if we do go lower, that may be an area of support. And then if we break that, then we should retest this consolidation zone that we had before we busted a move on one USDA report, then sold off, then busted a move, crazy move on another USDA report. So corn is bearish until, if it could get back into the cloud, it would be back in neutral. That wouldn't be until over 380. I'll look at the beans. Soybeans looking quite bearish, much worse than corn. After getting the Tenkan smackdown. Let's zoom in. So beans were rejected by the Tenkan and the Kijun-sen, which were confluent at the 973.25 area exactly. We did put on a little bit of a bottoming tail at 916.25 after testing in the 900 area, a 901 area. So if we do catch a bounce, then we can look for resistance at 973.25. And other than that, I would expect lower prices. We do have some flat cloud action above, so price could be attracted to that. Maybe, that was a lot of bearishness. We'll have to see. But the bias is bearish until it gets back into the cloud. Let's look at wheat. Wheat put in a big long-legged doji full of indecision, as it put in a higher high and a lower low. So a really big outside candle. And the close was inside the prior two candles. So I think there's a little bit of confusion in the wheat market at the moment as to what to do next. But overall, this market is bearish because it's under the cloud. And we see that the Kijun-sen, the Chikou span, the red line over here, representing current price time shifted 26 weeks into the past, is under the candles. So if we do get some upward momentum, watch the Chikou span where it runs into the next candle. It will find resistance at the 508.72 area for one thing. Which is, not that much higher than where we're at right now. It's in fact where the last two candles were rejected from, approximately the 509 area. Okay, let's look at cotton for my friend Shep. Cotton put in a rather bullish candle last week as it bounced off the bottom of the cloud, but it's still neutral as it's still inside the cloud. It's over the Tenkan and over the Kijun-sen at the moment. The Chikou has plenty of room to go higher. The Chikou could go all the way up to 73.96 or 95 thereabouts. That level is approximate, and so if we do go higher, we could find prior resistance in this area where we put in a prior top in July, which is around 67.40 thereabouts. So I would first, if we do get higher prices, I would first expect potential resistance to come in at around 67.40, then maybe a little bit higher at 68 area. If we get above the 68 area, I would definitely be pretty bullish for higher prices, maybe even eventual test of the top of the cloud at 77.20 or thereabouts. All right, let's go to dollar. Zooming in a little bit more. The dollar put in a kind of bearish candle, but overall the chart is still fully bullish. The dollar lost the support of the Kijun-sen for the first time in several weeks since June, and came down and almost tested the Tenkan-sen, but not quite. The Tenkan-sen's at 95.86. The low was 95.94. and a half, so didn't quite test the Tenkan-sen, but it's possible that we do get a test of the Tenkan-sen this week, but we'll have to wait and see. That's at 95.86 thereabouts. So the fact that the Tenkan-sen and the Kijun-sen are both flat here suggests more sideways action, and perhaps a tightening range. Perhaps even between the Kijun-sen and the Tenkan-sen, we could get a doji type test of that range. Let's look at the euro. This is kind of what I was talking about, which is a potential expectation of the dollar chart, is the euro did a test of the range between the flat Tenkan-sen and the flat Kijun-sen. It bounced over the Kijun-sen and then closed under the Kijun-sen after testing above the the Tenkan-sen. So blasted over the Kijun-sen, the pink line down here, and then tested above the Tenkan-sen and closed under the Tenkan-sen. So this is the range that we have to work with for the euro here, as defined by the Tenkan-sen at 111.34 and the Kijun-sen at 109.72. If we do get up back above the 111.34, then we could expect higher prices, maybe to 113, and then if we get really bullish, maybe 114.50, thereabouts. To the downside, if we lose 109.72, that would be very bearish. Overall, the chart is still bearish under the cloud, under the Tenkan-sen, but holding support above the Kijun-sen for the time being. Let's look at the Aussie. The Aussie is bear flagging, but this is a pretty bullish hammer type candle, so I expect it would not be unexpected. I expect it would not be unexpected for us to test the Tenkan-sen above here at 75, basically. Otherwise, the chart is fully bearish in Ichimoku terms, and I think that's gonna do it for me at the moment. Oh no, let's look at coffee before we go. Because coffee put in a bullish break above the Tenkan-sen and a bullish, very bullish candle, closing pretty close to the highs. I expect that we could see higher prices all the way back to perhaps the 144.43 Kijun-sen above here. We do have a lot of topping tails in this area, though, so it's possible if we get up to the 141, 142 area that we could see sellers come in and not make it up to the Kijun-sen above. And if we do sell off, then we have support to the downside around 129.43. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you for watching, and once again, if you're interested in learning Ichimoku and trade futures or Forex or stocks, we're mostly trading futures in my chat room these days, but we do trade Forex and love to talk about Forex, and I also trade some stock options, so if you're a stock trader, Ichimoku can be beneficial for you as well. Grains have been trading really great on Ichimokus lately, so if you're a grain trader, you know, it would be a good place to be. You can hit me up on Twitter if you have any questions about that, or look at my website at CloudChartist.com. And thanks for joining me, and see you next time. If you want to follow me here at Ticker TV, you can be notified when I go streaming live, which I do a couple times every day. Oh, you know, I just realized I completely forgot about the bonds. How could I have done such a terrible thing? All right, so that was my second advertising intervention. Let's see. Let's look at the bonds. So we have 30-year Treasury bond ZB. We see ZB put in a long-legged doji red type topping candle on the weekly last week. So I'll be very cautious if you want to be a bond bull right now after this kind of candle. But that's not to say I can't go higher, because if you look back here, we had this type of candle previously, and then we put in a new high the next week. And we also have, overall bullish chart with the Tenkan-sen coming up for potential for a bull cross. So if we do get any more upward momentum, it's likely that we could get a bull cross of the Tenkan-sen, the blue line, over the pink line. But otherwise, I would be looking for some downside price action towards the flat Kijun-sen below at 155.10, and then the Tenkan-sen below at 154. Let's look at the notes. These are the 10-year notes. Pardon my trend line there. 10-year put in a big spike above the cloud and put in a really small body, and then closed just above the Kijun-sen. So found support above 127.090 Kijun-sen. Came down, tested the bottom of the cloud, and then bounced and closed over the Kijun-sen. So that is sort of my bull bear line in the sand. Before I blow it up, I want to point out that the Chikou, this red line over here, is testing right on the Kijun-sen as well, right here. As the Kijun-sen is now in the same location that it was, that it is for current price. It's the same location as it was back here. So that's my bull bear line, that 127.090, 095 number. I thought the Kijun-sen was at 095. Let's zoom in a little bit. That's the level I was looking at all last week. Oh no, that's right. So I'm sorry. The daily Kijun-sen is at 095. I've been trading Xian quite a lot lately. You may have noticed. Let's look at the daily. Yeah, sorry. The daily Tenkan-sen is at 127.195. So we put in a close under the daily Tenkan-sen. So that's significant. On the daily, we could come down and test 127. But this is not the daily Ichimoku chart wrap-up. This is the weekly Ichimoku chart wrap-up. All right. So I'm going to leave it at that. Good luck trading this week. And stay safe. And I'll see you next time. Thanks.